Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first ever video, so thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to show you how to make these super cute fruit coasters. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the lemon, the kiwi and the watermelon, but you can also make them in different colours. Like I've just made an orange and a lime for this one as well, so you can literally just customise the colours. For the lemon, we're just going to use some scrap yarn, because you don't need much yarn at all for this. I'm just using some white and some yellow acrylic decor yarn. You're also going to need a 4mm hook, a tapestry needle and some scissors. So for the magic ring, I like to do it a different way, so I'll show you how I do it. So I'm going to make a slip knot, so I'm wrapping my yarn around my two fingers, making an X shape. We're going to grab this yarn here and then we're going to pull through the other to make a little loop, attach it onto our hook, and then we're going to chain 4. And then all you need to do is just slip stitch into that very first stitch there. So I'm pushing my hook through, grabbing the yarn, pulling through one, and then pull through all loops on the hook, and that is your little magic ring there. And then you're just crocheting into this middle little gap that we've made here. So first thing we're going to do is make 6 single crochets inside this magic ring. So we're going into that gap, we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. We'll do 5 more, so yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we've made 6, we're just going to grab our tail end and pull that tight to close the gap. And then we can go into that first stitch that we made and do a slip stitch, so yarn over. But before we pull through these 2 loops to make the slip stitch, we're going to grab onto our yellow yarn. And we're going to make a loop and attach that on like so, and then we can pull through with our yellow, pull in tight the weights, and then we can fasten off our weights. This round we're going to be chaining 1, and then we're going into that very first stitch that we just slip stitched into, and we're going to make 2 single crochets. So there's 1, and into the same stitch we're going to do another 1, and we've just made an increase. There's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, and then we're just doing this all the way around. So in the next stitch, 2 single crochets, and as you can see I'm just carrying these ends as well, so I've got less to weave in. So I'm just literally working that under like so. And you want to continue to do 2 single crochets in every stitch around. And by the end of this round we should have 12 stitches in total. Then once you've got 12 stitches, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch again, pull through, chain 1, and now we can move on to round 2. For round 2 we're going to do a single crochet into the first stitch, and then an increase into the second stitch, so 2 single crochets into the second stitch, and then in the third we're going to do 1 single crochet, and the next 2 single crochet, and we're just going to continue this pattern all the way around. So 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. For the next round, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and into the third stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets. So an increase into the third stitch, and then repeat that again. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and an increase into the thirds. Once we've got 24 stitches around, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch and pull through, and then chain 1, and this time we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and an increase into the fourth. And then repeat that again. So 1, 2, 3, and increase. And repeat that all the way around. To have 30 stitches around, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch again, and chain 1. And this time we're doing 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 into the second, 1 into the third, 1 into the fourth, and an increase into the fifth. And again we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase into that fifth stitch. And I'll meet you back here when we've got 36 stitches around. So once you finish that round and you've slip stitched and chained 1, we're first going to do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then an increase into the 6th stitch. So 2 single crochets into the 6th stitch, and then again 5 single crochets, and then an increase into the 6th stitch. And just continue this pattern all the way around. You should have 42 stitches by the end of this. Once we finish round 6 and we have 42 stitches around, we're just going to slip stitch and chain 1 again. And this is going to be our last round of increases. So we're just going to be doing 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then an increase into the 7th stitch. So 2 single crochet into the 7th stitch, and then again 6 single crochet, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase into the 7th. And just continue this all the way around. You should have 48 stitches by the end of this. Okay, so once you finish your 7th round and we're about to slip stitch into that first stitch, we're now just going to grab our white yarn and we're going to attach our white onto our hook. So just make a little loop like this, pop it on our hook, and then we can pull through both loops, tighten on our yellow, and then we can cut off our yellow. And now we're working with the white. So for the white, we're just going to make a chain 1. And then I'm grabbing these ends here, and I'm going to work these ends in so we don't have to weave them in later. So we're just going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, and then continue to do single crochets all the way around. So once we've done a round of just single crochets and we're back to the beginning, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch, but we're not going to pull through. We're then going to grab our yellow yarn, attach that on, pull through, and we can fasten off our white. And then this time we're going to do a row of single crochets just with the yellow. So again, we're grabbing onto these ends here, and we're going to work these in. So again, single crochet into that first stitch, and continue this all the way around. So the exact same thing we did with the white. This is going to make it a lot more circular. So just continue doing single crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you back when we are at the beginning again. Okay, so once you finish doing single crochets all the way around, we can then just slip stitch into that first stitch, chain 1, and then fasten off. And there is our coaster pretty much done. We're now just going to make the little details, so these little slices. So basically for the slices, all we're going to do is just make a row of slip stitches. So first thing we're going to do is just make a slip knot. Then we're going to stick our hook into where we want our slice to start, and then we're pulling through this loop through the back like so. Then we can tighten that. And then all we're doing from there is we're just going to make a slip stitch. So we're just going to pop our hook through the body of the coaster. We're going to grab the yarn at the back and then pull that through the same gap that we just went into, and then make a slip stitch. So I'll show you again. We're just going to stick a hook into another gap, pull through the yarn at the back, pull that through, and make a slip stitch, and just continue this all the way until you reach the end of the coaster. So there we go, there's one line there, and all we're going to do is fasten off our weights, and then we can just pull that through. And you just want to continue doing this until you're happy with the amount of lines. So normally I do 6 like so, but you can make obviously as many as you want. And yeah, I'll meet you back when I've done 6 of my lines. And there we go, once you've done your 6 lines or however many lines you want to do, you're done. And yeah, all we now need to do is weave in these ends. Do is just attach your yarn to your needle, and then I'm just going through the backs of these single crochets that we made. So I'm going through the back of this row, and it just hides it in place so that when you do cut it off, the yarn is hidden behind this single crochet. I will attach a helpful video about how to weave in ends in the description box, because I'm not honestly the best at explaining it, but yeah, that's basically how I do it, and I'll just continue doing that until all my ends are weaved in. And yeah, your coaster should look like this once you've finished. So for the kiwi coaster, the materials we're going to need are some green yarn, some brown yarn, black and white, and then we're also going to be using a 4mm hook and tapestry needle to weave in the ends. So again, we're just making a slip knot, attaching that onto our hook. And then we're making a magic ring again, so I'm just going to chain 4. And then slip stitch into that very first stitch. Chain 1. And then again, we're just going to do 6 single crochets inside that magic ring. Once you've done 6, you can now close the gap and slip stitch into that very first stitch. And then for the next round, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do an increase in every stitch around. So that's 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2 into 1 stitch. And then continue this, so an increase into the next stitch, an increase into the next stitch, and just continue this all the way around. You should end up with 12 stitches by the end of this round. Once you've finished round 2, you can now just slip stitch into that first stitch. And we're going to attach our green yarn. So we're going to attach it onto our hook, pull through, tighten our weights, and then we can fasten off the weights. And now working with the green yarn, we're going to chain 1. We're going to do a single crochet into that first stitch, and then a increase into the second stitch. And as you can see, I'm just working in these ends as well. So we're just finishing off our last increase. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch, chain 1. And now we're going to do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and an increase into the third stitch. Once you finish that round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and now we're going to do 1, 2, 3 single crochets and an increase into the 4th stitch. Oops. Yep, increase into this stitch. Oh my god. There we go. And yeah, just keep doing single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And then when you get to the 4th, we're going to do an increase. For this round, we're going to do 4 single crochets. That's 2, 3, and 4. And then an increase into the 5th. And again, 4 single crochets. And an increase into that 5th stitch. So we're finished, we're going to slip stitch again into that first stitch, chain 1, and now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets, and an increase into the 6th stitch. Once you get to the end of round 6, I'm just doing my last increase. We're going to slip stitch into that first stitch, but before we finish doing the slip stitch, we're going to attach our brown yarn. So just grab your brown, attach that onto our hook, and then we can fasten off the green. And then all we're going to do is just a row of single crochets. So we're just going to chain 1. So we're going to do a single crochet, that first stitch, and see how I'm just grabbing the ends with it. So they're being weaved in as I'm working along the row. And we're just going to do a single crochet in every stitch. I'm now just finishing off my round of single crochets. And then we can slip stitch into that first stitch and fasten off. And that is your coaster pretty much done. We're just going to add these details now. So these little lines here to make it look more like a kiwi. So we're going to grab some white yarn and our tapestry needle and just thread that through. And then we're first going to just make the little lines coming out of the white middle. So we're just going to take our needle and we're going to stick it in through like so, just above the white circle in the middle. And we're just going to make some random little lines. So I'm just going to pop it through here, pull that through. And there's one, and we're just going to continue doing this around. I think I did 6 total lines around, but you can do as many as you want. So again, I'm just going through the edge of that circle and making another straight line like so. Once you're happy with the little lines you've created, we can then just fasten off our weights. And now we're going to grab our black yarn. So just thread our black onto the needle again, and this time we're going to make some black lines in between the white lines. So we're just pushing through our needle and we're just going in between those lines. So you want to make sure the lines are quite evenly spaced, but again, mine definitely isn't perfect and I quite like it looking a little bit more messy. So I'm just literally going around, sticking my needle through and popping it in between those white yarns. And yeah, once you've weaved in your ends and done all your details, you are all done. So for the watermelon, we're just following the exact same pattern that we did for both coasters. So we're just going to do 7 rounds of increases, but just with the red yarn this time. So the materials you're going to need are some red, black yarn, some green, and some white. And I will pop the full pattern on the screen somewhere over here so that you can see exactly what I'm doing, but it's literally just the exact same thing that we were doing for the kiwi and the lemon, but without the colour changes, which is going to be with the red the whole time. So I'll show you how I make the magic ring again. So we're just going to do a chain 4. We're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. And then we're just going to chain 1, and again it's just 6 single crochets in the middle of that magic ring, and then we're going to tighten the gap, slip stitch into that first stitch. I'm just going to tighten this again, and then yeah, we're going to continue doing increases. So the next round will be 1 single crochet, 1 increase, then the next will be 2 single crochet, 1 increase, and so on and so forth. So I'm now just finishing my 7th row. So we're going to do an increase into the last stitch, the 7th stitch, and then we can slip stitch into that first stitch, grab our white yarn, attach that on to change colours. We can fasten off our reds. And now we're just going to be doing a row of single crochet. So we're going to start with the white. So we're just going to chain 1, carry those loose ends, and we're going to do a single crochet into every stitch until the ends. Once we've nearly finished with our whites, we're going to slip stitch again into the first stitch, and now we're going to attach our green yarn, and now we're just going to do another row of single crochets with the green. So chain 1, we're carrying these ends again, and we're going to do a single crochet all the way to the ends. Once you get to the end of your green round, we're just going to slip stitch again, and we can fasten off. And then that's your watermelon coaster nearly done. We're now just going to add on the details. So I'm just taking some black yarn, threading it through my needle, and then I'm just going to make some little lines around the edge to make the watermelon. You can basically do as many lines as you want, but that's just the way that I like to do it. So very similar to the kiwi, we're just sticking our needle through. We're going along the outer edge, just below where we made the white round, and we're just making some tiny little lines all the way around, just to create the watermelon seeds. So just continue this all the way around to the end until you're happy. Once you're happy with the amount of seeds you've made around, all that's left to do is weave in our ends, and then you're done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.